Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Peabody Hotel, the South Grand Hotel, and to the world-famous march of the Peabody Ducks. My name is Doug, and I'll be your duck master today. You know who you are, but whoever you are, you're an honored guest today at the Peabody Hotel. Now, people say that the Champs-Élysées, if you sit at a sidewalk cafe long enough and watch, the entire world will eventually walk by. Well, many people feel that way about the lobby of the Peabody. These walls have seen the march of presidents, from Harry S. Truman to George W. Bush. It's seen the big bands of the 30s and 40s, Guy Lombardo and singers such as Patti Page and Frank Sinatra and all those folks. It's seen the birth of rock and roll with the Memphis $1 Million Quartet, Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins and their friends, back during the days when they were formulating the art form. But more importantly than these and some of the movie stars, which I didn't mention, Tom Cruise or Oprah, more importantly than that, they've seen young couples torn apart by World War II and all the other wars brought back together here from reacquainted after years of separation. They've seen young romance blooming up in the Continental Ballroom with spring formals and proms and so forth. And they've seen lots of reunions of all types over the decades. But through it all, the Peabody Ducks have marched from the rooftop to the lobby and back. And in doing so, they've sewn the thread which connects the fabric, which makes the collage of the history and the names and the faces and the events of the Peabody Hotel. Now, it all began back in 1869 when Colonel Robert Parker realized his dream by opening a state-of-the-art hotel at Monroe in Maine. And he called it the Brinkley House. I misspoke, Brinkley. It was the Brinkley House, and it was to set the standard for quality of cuisine in the South. Unfortunately, during that first year that he was open, his good friend and contributor, Mr. George Peabody, passed away in Europe, and he changed the name of the hotel from the Brinkley House to the Peabody Hotel. It stayed there at that location some 55 years at Monroe, Maine. And in 1925, September the 1st, the doors opened to this beautiful facility you see here today. Now, that's not the whole history of this hotel by a long shot. And if you have the time, you should go to the memorabilia room up on the mezzanine level. Go in, push the red button, and you'll get a narrative of all the faces and documents and names and souvenirs from all the decades leading up to today. My favorite is a memo, an urgent memo from the former managing partner, Mr. Gary Bell, to the food and beverage director that day, stating that there will be no duck served on any menu of this hotel. Now, the tradition of ducks in the Peabody goes back a long way. In fact, in 1933, when general manager, Mr. Frank Shutt, and his buddy Chip went on a duck hunting trip over into the cold backwaters of Mississippi in Arkansas. And they knew it was going to be a cold day, so they took along a companion, a certain Jack Daniels. Now, Mr. Daniels is otherwise one of the fine Tennessee citizens. And they did this just for encouragement and warmth. So, toward the end of the day, back in those days, we had live duck decoys that were legal and customary for such trips. Toward the end of the day, there seemed to be a great deal of encouragement from Mr. Daniels. And they thought it would be a funny idea to take the live decoys and bring them back to Peabody Town and release them at night just to see what would happen. And then they did so, surreptitiously of course, and they sneaked off to their rooms and slept it off. Well, the next morning, Mr. Shutt came back down, and he was a little concerned over the mayhem that may have been created after his deed. And he was surprised by two things. Number one, the ducks were still splashing around the fountain. They hadn't gone to the site of Memphis. They hadn't gone to Gill Street. They were still here. And number two, a crowd had gathered, tourists and guests, and they were delighted with the frolic in the fountain. So needless to say, the ducks were allowed to stay, and a 78-year tradition was begun. Now, in 1940, Mr. Edward Pembroke was hired as bellman. Mr. Pembroke may have been hired as bellman, but his talent lay somewhere else. He was an animal trainer for Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Service. And he told management at that time, if you'll let me, I'll take 5 North American mallard ducks, 1 male and 4 females, and I'll train them to march from the duck house on the roof to the elevator, down on the red carpet to the fountain. And I'll do this at 11 o'clock every day and bring them back at 5 every day. Management said, go ahead, Edward, give it a shot, see what you can do. And he did, and for 15 years, Mr. Pembroke watched ducks from the rooftop down to the lobby like that. Now, he did this so well that he became an ambassador of goodwill to the city of Memphis and the Peabody Hotel. He appeared in such venues as The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson and the program Sesame Street, where they helped to commemorate National Rubber Ducky Day. And they did magazines for this and people that other magazines. Now, when someone does something so long and so well, I would tend to think that they have mastered what they do. Wouldn't you? Well, the manager of the hotel thought so they bestowed the title of master on Mr. Pembroke. The world's first master here in the Peabody Hotel. Now, Mr. Pembroke has gone away, of course, and his spirit is here in the lobby with us today. And if you'll look near the south entrance, you'll see up on the wall a portrait of his smiling face of his beloved ducks. Now, that's going to conclude my introduction to the Duck March and a little history of the hotel. Today, I'm very privileged to have an honorary duck master. Every so often, we have someone who has such high integrity that we make him honorary duck master. And we have such a person here today, Mr. Rod Bates. Would you step forward, please, sir? Mr. Bates is the chairman of the board of National Public Television, and we're delighted to have him today. We have a proclamation to read to you on this auspicious occasion. Whereas the daily march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks is a time-honored tradition begun in 1933 and attended by countless visitors, and whereas the care and protection of the Peabody Ducks must be attended to on a daily basis, it can only fall to persons of high standards and great distinction. And whereas you are such a person, be it resolved that on November 7, 2011, Mr. Rod Bates has been chosen as honorary duck master. There you are, sir. An official duck master came so he can help me with my duties momentarily. Now, in just seconds, we're going to remove the shield, and the ducks are going to march up the red carpet, up to their penthouse on the roof, and the door will close, and you will have seen the world-famous march of Peabody Ducks. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and your attention, please. Welcome to the historic Peabody Hotel. At the center of the grand lobby, the point where the Mississippi Delta has been set to begin, stands the classic Peabody fountain, carved from one piece of the Titan travertine marble. Although famous in its own right, the fountain is better known the world over because of its drunkenness. If I may direct your attention to the fountain now, you will witness a tradition begun in the 1930s at the South Grand Hotel, an experience uniquely yours as a guest of the Peabody. Preparing to return to their penthouse on the plantation roof for the night, ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks.